There are games that we play for the challenge, others for the adrenaline, but there are some that stays with us long after we turn off the screen. Not for the graphics, not for the gameplay, but for the story they tell. Today, we are going to talk about games that prove that video games are in fact a form of narrative art. It's not a list of the best games of all time. It's a list of games that made me feel something that few books or movies have managed to. And of course, without too many spoilers, just enough to convince you to play. Before we get to the list, it's worth defining what we are evaluating. A good story in a game isn't just about having a beautiful cinematic cutscene or a well-written dialogue. It's when the narrative and the gameplay merge, when what the player does has weight, when choices matter, when the world feels alive, when every character has a story behind and a purpose. There are three ingredients that, for me, separate a mediocre story from a truly memorable one. Characters with real deepness, not perfect heroes, but people with flaws, fears, and contradictions. A world that has something to say, a message, a critique, a question without an easy answer, and final, moments that only a game can create, situations where you are the story, not just a spectator. With this criteria in mind, here's the list, and please remember, this is just my list, and this is just a few games. I intend to do more videos like this in the future, so please feel free to give me yours in the comment section. I'm Yugito, and let's go! It's difficult to start this list with any other game. The Last of Us is probably the most cited example of mature storytelling in video games, and rightfully so. In a post-apocalyptic world where a fungus transforms half of humanity into something that is no longer human, the story isn't just about the apocalypse, it's about what we do for others when the world crumbles. It's about Joel, a broken father who lost a lot, who survived by doing things he prefers not to remember. And Ellie, a girl that never knew the world as it was before, and she carries a secret that could change everything. What begins as a mission becomes something else, something harder to define but even harder to forget. What makes this story extraordinary isn't the zombies, it's the relationship between Joel and Ellie, built slowly, scene by scene, until it becomes one of the most compelling relationships I ever seen in a game. The Last of Us isn't a game about the end of the world, it's a game about what we do for others when the world no longer makes sense, when the world we used to know it's over, when humans can be more dangerous than the zombies. It's 2026, so I don't know by this point who never played this game, but just in case you never played, please do yourself a favor and go play, and you will see why this game is in everyone's list. France, 1349. The Black Death devastates Europe. Amicia is 15 years old. Her brother Hugo is 5. Until now, they live protected by the wealth and walls of their family, but everything crumbles overnight. Fleeing the Inquisition and swarms of rats that devour everything in their path, Amicia finds herself alone, responsible for a younger brother she barely knows. What makes this story special is the relationship between them. Amicia, who grows up too fast, and Hugo, who tries to understand the world that has never been explained to him. Two siblings who only have each other. Plague Tale portrays the Black Death like never seen before. The amount of realism and accuracy in this game, it's amazing. You simply have two children trying to survive something that is too big for them, and that's precisely what makes each moment so tense and so exciting, because Amicia, she's not a warrior, she doesn't have any training, she has no armor, no swords, nor shields to defend herself. She only has a slingshot, which makes this game even more unique. With that slingshot, you can pass every section as you want. You can use it to throw stones at enemies, distract guards, or break locks from a distance, and even turn your biggest danger into ally. But most of the time, Amicia's best weapon is silence. Hide, observe, wait, because she knows that in a direct confrontation, she won't survive. A Plague Tale Innocence, it's a game about lost innocence, about what an older brother does to protect what's left, and about the fact that sometimes the world doesn't forgive innocence. We know Kratos as the god of war, a being of pure rage, of destruction, of vengeance, but that was a long time ago. The 2018 God of War finds him different, older, more tired, And he has a son, Arceus. The mission is simple: fulfill the last wish of the woman he loved, scatter her ashes at the highest point of the 9 realms. But nothing is simple when you are Kratos. What this game does that is extraordinary, it takes a character we know as a symbol of violence and make him human. And I think that's what most people fail to understand. Even a god can evolve and become something else. It become more cautious and wiser. We see a father who doesn't know how to be a father, who is afraid of passing his demons on to his son, who carries such an heavy past that he can barely look Atreus in the eye. And Atreus? A curious, impulsive boy who has no idea who his father really is. It is in this tension between what Kratos was and what he wants to be that the story lives. God of War isn't a game about killing gods, it's a game about learning too late to be present, about carrying the weight of the past without passing it on to your children, about love that can't express itself with words, only with actions, and when the game ends, you realize you are watching a father trying, in his own way, to be better. Titanfall 2 is without a doubt one of the best FPS games ever made, and it's not just because of its amazing gameplay, but because of the compelling storytelling. In this game, we are Cooper, a simple militiaman who dreams of one day becoming a pilot. And pilots are the elite highly mobile soldiers, mentally linked to their titans. Titans are giant, powerful little machines. On a mission gone wrong, Cooper finds himself alone on a hostile planet. His commander is dead, the militia is miles away, and by his side, B-27274, a titan without a pilot. This is where the story begins. A relationship between man and machine built mission by mission, battle by battle. BT follows protocols, Cooper acts on instinct, and in this difference, something unexpected is born. Titanfall 2 has a very short campaign. It can be finished in between 4 to 6 hours, but it's one of the most creative and well-constructed 6 hours ever. Each mission introduces a new mechanic, each level surprised with an incredible level design and performance. It's a game that it's not afraid to experiment, and it proves that you don't need 40 hours to tell a story that stays in your memory, especially when you have a titan that will die for you. The next on this list is without a doubt my favorite game of all time. The lore and the message in this game, it's simply brilliant. Set in 1960, your plane crashes in the middle of the Atlantic. Alone, in the dark, you find a strange entrance in the middle of the ocean. A lighthouse, a Bathys cave, and at the bottom of the sea, a city called Rapture. Rapture was built by Andrew Ryan, a man who believed that the powerful should not serve the weak. He believed that the world above limited the truly talented. Taxes, religions, and governments, rules created by the weak to limit the strong. That's why he built a city where none of that existed. A utopia for scientists, artists, thinkers, far from everything and everyone. An underwater utopia, far from governments, religions, and rules. A place where science and human ingenuity would have no limits. But when you arrive, Rapture is no longer an utopia. It's a nightmare. For years, Rapture flourished. Science advanced without ethical limits, art thrived without censorship. It was Ryan's dream come true. But then, they discovered Adam, a substance extracted from sea slugs that allowed them to rewrite human DNA. With it, you could control fire, mines, electricity. You could become something more than human. But the problem was that Adam was addictive, destructive. Those who consumed too much lost their minds. The city that was supposed to be the paradise became a battlefield. Every citizen were always lurking for more Adam. The scientists have gone mad, and children were transformed into Adam collectors, the Little Sisters, guarded by steel giants called Big Daddies. Recordings spread through all the Rapture tell stories of people who believe in Ryan's dream, doctors who crossed lines they shouldn't have, artists who sold their souls for more power, families torn apart, friendships destroyed, ideals that turned into obsession. BioShock tells the story of Rapture not through long cinematics. It tells it through the environment, through the details, through what you find abandoned in the hallways. a note never sent, a broken photograph, a laboratory that was clearly the scene of something terrible. It's a game that rewards those who pay attention and explore. And at the heart of it all is the question that Andrew Ryan poses directly to the player. If you build a paradise without rules, what prevents paradise from becoming hell? The answer lies within the flooded walls of Rapture, and in a twist that, when it arrives, completely change how you see everything you have played up to that point. BioShock is a game that uses the world itself to surprise you, that asks questions about power, freedom, and human nature without ever being heavy or boring. And it proves that a video game can be at the same time a thriller, a philosophical critique, and a work of visual art. BioShock is a game that you can make important choices. And like everything in this game, those choices says more about you than about the story. Rapture was built on an idea, and destroyed by the same idea. The lesson isn't that Ryan's dream was impossible, it's that the world without limits is a world without humanity. Dawnwall is a city rotting, rich on the surface but rotten on the inside, governed by corrupt elite, sustained by the whale oil, and consumed by the plague that transforms the poor into something no longer human. You are Corvo Attano, protector lord of the Empress, her closest guardian, her trusted man. In a single moment, everything falls apart. The Empress is murdered, her daughter Emily is kidnapped, and Corvo, the only man who should have prevented, is accused of that crime. Months of imprisonment, of torture, and of silence, until a group called the Loyalists breaks him out, with a mission in mind: eliminate the conspirators one by one, find Emily, and restore the order. But someone else appears. The Outsider is one of the most fascinating characters in the game. He's not a god, he's not a demon, he's something undefined, an entity that exists outside of the world, observing humans with genuine curiosity. It doesn't choose heroes, it chooses interesting people. And Corvo, with all his pain and grief, interests him. He then offers you a mark on your hand that gives you power that shouldn't exist. Teleportation, time control, the ability to see through walls, tools of a ghost, or an assassin. What you do with them is up to you. Dishonored, it's a game about real choices. You can go through every mission without killing anyone. Invisible, patient, surgical. Or you can leave a trail of chaos that the game itself will record. What makes Dishonored generally special is that the world reacts to what you do. The more violent you are, the more the plague spreads, more guards patrol, more bodies in the streets, more despair. Your actions have visible consequences. Dawnwall gets worse or better depending on who you choose to be. Beneath the mission of revenge lies a story about power and corruption, about a city where the rich sacrifice the poor to maintain their lifestyle, about people who made terrible choices for reasons they thought were justified, and about Corvo, a man who lost everything and must decide if revenge is enough, or if there is something greater worth fighting for. Dishonored gives you absolute power, gives you a rich world, a genuinely emotional revenge story, and a rare freedom. But what remains when you finish is not the mission is accomplished. It's the question the Outsider asks you at the beginning. What are you going to do with what you have? And you already answer it through each mission, each choice, each body you left or didn't leave behind. Dishonored is a mirror, and some players don't like what they see. There are games that entertain, and there are games that disturb, in the right way. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is one of those games. Senua is an 8th century Pictish warrior. She traveled to Hell, the realm of the dead in the Norse mythology, to rescue the soul of the man she loved. But Senua doesn't travel alone. Voices live within her mind, constant, contradictory, sometimes cruel, sometimes protective, voices that comment on every step, every decision, every mistake, voices that never stop. Hellblade is a game about psychosis, developed in collaboration with neuroscientists and people living with mental illness. The game recreates disturbing accuracy in what it's like to inhabit a collapsing mind. The vocals aren't a sound effect, they are a constant presence. they whisper in your ears, they argue amongst themselves, they lie to you, and you are never quite sure what is real. Beneath the mythology and the violence, there is a love story. Senua makes this impossible journey for Dillion, the man who accepted her when no one else did, who saw her voices not as a curse but as a part of her. It is her pain that drives the game. It is her love that makes her human. Hellblade has no HUD, no tutorials, no scoring system. Just Senua, her voices, and a path that gets increasingly darker. There's a moment in this game, that I'm not gonna say which one, where you realize what the story is really about. And that moment is one of the bravest things I ever seen in a video game. Hellblade, it's not an easy game to play. Not because of the difficulty, but because of the intensity. It's an experience that demands your presence. You need to listen, you need to feel, and when it ends, you are left silent. Not with relief, but with something harder to name. This game is a proof that video games can go to places that no other medium can reach. Places within the human mind that are normally closed, and Senua opens them with a courage that will stay with you long after you turn off the screen. This game is very short, you can finish within 6 to 7 hours, but I've gotta tell you that the combat system is amazing. You can feel the power in every swing of your sword, in every block, in every death. This game is more than a story, it's an experience that every player must feel. And that's it for today, guys. This is just some games that I choose to talk about, but luckily there's so much more I want to discuss with you. If this video made you want to play any game from this list, then my job here is done. Leave a like if you enjoy it, subscribe so you don't miss the next videos, and tell me in the comments, what's your favorite game? What game should I include in the next list? Let's discuss in the comment section. Thank you for your company, I'm Yugito, and I will see you in the next video.